Another year of the Charlotte Roval shenanigans are now in the rearview mirror once again. And eventful it sure was. And while we'll go over that, I think that it'd be fitting to look over the entirety of the Charlotte Roval's existence on the NASCAR schedule and see how 2021 has only reinforced this notion of why it works. So let's start out with the 2021 Charlotte Roval race. This year's Roval race was one that really epitomized why the Roval works. A big reason is popular young race winners. Kyle Larson won this year's Roval race in a hell of a comeback. After having electrical issues through the second stage of the race, Larson carved his way through over 30 cars and used a masterfully designed strategy to get the lead and then never look back. It's a great story due to how it came about as well as who it was to execute it. And this wasn't the only time that this has happened. In 2019, Chase Elliott absolutely biffed it into the heartburn turn. Then he turned around and zigged and zagged in every way possible between cars, through them, whatever it needed to be to get up to the front. Then, the next year, he won back-to-back years. And then you have to, of course, look back to the thrilling 2018 finish.
One lap left in the inaugural Bank of America Roval 400. It's turned into a battle between Martin Truex Jr. and Jimmie Johnson.
Truex really smooth down the front straightaway as he pulled a little bit of a gap on Jimmie Johnson here on the final lap. It's 3 car lengths to the left-hander of turn 2, back down to the right. Still 2 car lengths the advantage for Martin Truex Jr.
Stays at 2 car lengths at the entrance to turn number 4. That's the right-hander. A wide swing off of 4. Both of them jump the curbing. They'll stay on the asphalt almost to the entrance at turn number 5. Martin Truex Jr. with the lead in the exit at turn 5.
Well, I tell you what, Jimmie Johnson gets a great entry into turn number 6, and he gets lower than Truex this time, right up to the rear bumper. He's going to dive to the inside. The crowd is cheering. Jimmie Johnson right to the right rear. Make that the left rear of Truex, but Truex maintains the lead back up onto the oval.
Shades of Denny Hamlin and Tony Stewart at Sonoma a couple of years ago. Jimmie Johnson trying to narrow that gap. 2 car lengths as they go to the bottom of the racetrack in the middle of the bank in turns 9 and 10. Off 10. 1 car length lane for Martin Truex Jr.
Truex down the backstretch now. He'll have to face the turn to the left. He'll get it done. Johnson now right on his tail. They both accelerate up into turn 13. Jimmie Johnson now pulls to the bumper. He's going to try to make a move on Truex. He's only a half a car length back.
Jimmie Johnson looks to the inside of Martin Truex Jr. They dive into the chicane. They touch. Jimmie Johnson spins. Martin Truex Jr. gets hit by Johnson. They are both spun out. Here comes Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney will survive and win the Bank of America Roval 400.
So these are some of the great moments that we can all look back on with fond memories of just the Cup Series, let alone the Xfinity Series and the giant drench out that they basically had last year. So far, the Roval hasn't given fans an all-out dud of a race, the way that some road courses like Sonoma have in recent years. The basement value of what's viewed as a bad Roval race is much higher than almost any track on the circuit. And another thing that these 4 races all have in common is the fact that the winners, well, they're all popular. Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, and Ryan Blaney are all guys in their 20s who are popular, who are the new guard of drivers. If you look at their ages, Blaney was 24 when he won in 2018, Elliott was 23 in 2019, and 24 the next year, and Kyle Larson is the old man yesterday, winning at the age of 29. So the average age of a Roval winner is 25, and like I said, these guys are all popular, so there's years to come of possible dominance by these guys. So I'd posit that this youthful change for the Roval's winners helps make it more popular. You haven't seen guys like Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, or Joey Logano get the success that they tend to have at other tracks, most other tracks at that. And others like Alex Bowman, Tyler Reddick, and William Byron all have had bright moments as well. The Roval, at least in results, at a bare minimum, is a complete breath of fresh air for the Cup Series. But there's a pushback from others that claim that much of this popular push is due to just the popular drivers, nothing else. It's only because Chase Elliott's good there. Well, if Elliott does well somewhere, of course fans will be happy to continue that on. But there are moments that most, regardless of pulling interests, would agree are great showings for what NASCAR racing brings to the table. The aforementioned 2018 race saw a desperate Jimmie Johnson end up losing out due to his own mistakes. in the grand scheme of things, you could really point at this race as really the last competitive hurrah for Johnson's competitive career. It was the last time he was in the playoffs, and he got eliminated that day. It made for a great story, and to this day, it's one of the defining moments of NASCAR's modern era. When people look back at the Gen 6 era, this race will be on the short list of great races to go back to. Then you also look at Bubba versus Bowman back in 2019. And then this year, you have the drama between Elliott and Kevin Harvick. Harvick landing the first blow on Elliott as a retaliation for their Bristol deal. Elliott later coming back and using basically the Intimidator button from the mid-2000s EA games. So, not only are the finishes memorable, but so too are the entirety of the races themselves. And this is something that's really needed, as it's a definitive playoff cutoff race. While the racing is the draw, many are drawn for the playoff drama. Each year has seen someone need to race their way into the next round, and this has caused hard racing in this event. And with the continuous and varying pit strategies that the teams employ, it means that the playoff cut line shifts almost every lap. Add to this the fact that it's difficult to pass in this course, but it does seem to favor comers and goers. You look at Chase Elliott in years past, Kyle Larson this year, but also William Byron yesterday, coming up through the field and nearly getting himself into the round of 8 with a victory. Now, Charlotte was a nondescript playoff race before this change. While there's small contingents of fans that want the oval back for nostalgia reasons, they really have no good ground to stand on. When we talk about great moments in the Charlotte Fall race before the change, they usually go back to 2004. That was a great race. Or Jamie McMurray's 2002 win where he was an underdog. Generally, it's Gen 4 era racing that's remembered. Not really much COT or Gen 6 era. The only real moments that are talked about from the COT or Gen 6 eras is the race in 2014, and that's really more for Brad Keselowski being against the world. The Roval, for any faults it may have, has made moments to remember every year of its usage. It's almost always a must-watch on TV, and it lives up to the billing of being on big NBC. That, and compared to many other races in the playoffs, it is a huge ratings draw. There's other tracks that have many of these traits, but very few have this full package like the Roval does. The big question is going to be what the effects of the next-gen car will be on the racing. It's hypothetically going to improve road course racing, but as is with every big change that NASCAR makes, as is with every new car generation NASCAR has, there will be unforeseen issues, so we can't know for sure and we can't guarantee it. So, here's to hoping for the best. Now, with that all being said, I want to pass this topic on to you. Why do you think the Roval has become such a massive success thus far? Or are you to the contrary? Do you think it's a massive failure? Whatever you may think, let me know down in the comments below. While you're at it, leave a like in this video. Share this video and subscribe to my channel for more great NASCAR content like this. And a big thank you to every one of my channel members. I love the support that you give me. So, until next time, have a good one.